My first prison was Lebanon. And, I was a kid. I was 19. I was with the shit. I was on the shit. And I was just a dumbass. And I wasn't paying attention to the things that I should have in terms of my life and the direction it was on and the path that I was on and ultimately the destination that I would eventually reach. There was this guy, I don't remember his name. He was an old white guy. He had to been in his mid to late 60s. And he had been locked up at that time. Again, this is 1999. Roughly 35 years. He ran the block. I was in D. David, and at that time it was the orientation block. So everybody who rode to Lebanon had to go to D. David, and you stayed there for like a week or two until they processed you and then put you in your block. But everybody came through D. David first. And so, in terms of being a porter, it can be lucrative. It can be a hustle. Because when you have guys that are coming in from other prisons all over the state, one of the big things is access to shit you can't get where you're at. Whether it be hygiene items, maybe Ross sells a certain kind of deodorant or washing powder or toothpaste or soap or whatever, a clothing item, shoes, whatever it is. And so the porters naturally in D. David would have first crack at trying to buy some new shit and flipping it or whatever. The dude I'm talking about, he ran that block. He was, I believe he was, I'm pretty positive he was the sergeant's clerk. But he hired and fired porters. Like, this dude ran that block. He made the phone lists. Yeah, all that. And the reason he wasn't the police, he wasn't a snitch, he had been there for 35 years. He had been at Lebanon since like 1964, 65, maybe 6. But he had been there roughly 35 years. He had a reformatory number, obviously. And I just seen him for the character he became in my mind. In my mind, I'm 19. My whole from the age of 8 to the time I first stepped into county jail. That was the mission I was on. No, I did not willingly want to go to jail. But I didn't give a fuck. I was angry. I was lost. I was emotional. And I was just on a warpath. And that was the destination. And so when I finally got there, I wasn't looking for ways. Damn, what can I do to impress this judge so I can get out early and get back to my family? I wasn't looking for that. If it came, so be it. But I wasn't doing what I wasn't taking advantage of the college courses they offered. I wasn't taking advantage of the apprenticeships they offered. I wasn't taking advantage of the programs and the therapy and the mental health and all the shit that people will say, well, that shit don't work anyway. They just put that shit in there to make themselves look good. are missing the point. It's what you make of it. And I didn't pursue positivity. I didn't pursue shit that would change my life for the better. I pursued the other shit. I was trying to make money through moving dope on a visit or knocking a CO or getting high or, fighting and just all the bullshit. I was on it. And so he was just another character. He was that the old guy who been locked up forever ran the block. One day I was going out for a pass, and this was shit. This wasn't long. I mean, this was maybe 2-3 weeks before I rode to Toledo. So I had been there 9 or 10 months at this time, about 9 months. And I'm going for a pass, so they let me out of my cell, and I'm up at the front. And at that time, I don't know if Lebanon still does this, but if it's not operational hours, meaning if there's nobody on the rec yard or at rec, it's considered non-operational hours. So when somebody gets a pass back then, I don't know about now, you used to have to wait for a CO, who we called yard dogs or a rover, would come get you and take you to your destination. So I'm waiting. And the old dude comes back and he's emotional. Like he's not crying at the time, but you could tell that he had been. And he was just real shaky and just real upset. You could just tell he was wearing it all over him, that he was upset. And he had some friends in the block, and I don't remember exactly how it went, but the gist of the story is he went to the parole board that day, and they gave him an out date. And he was upset and crying and scared because he didn't want it. He was institutionalized. He didn't have no family. He had been locked up almost 40 years. He didn't have children. All of his parents and grandparents were long gone. I don't think he had any. I don't know exactly, but he didn't have nothing to go home to. He had built a life for himself in prison with the expectation that he would die there. I ended up riding to Toledo. And so I don't know whatever happened to that guy. But I think about him every now and again. More often now than in the past. And that's probably because I'm now institutionalized and trying to navigate the maze that I'm in. And God willing, I'll come out the other side, okay? There was another guy at Lebanon. I had met him. I knew who he was. Like, we've never conversated there. He was gay. He was a predator. He was a booty bandit. And that's why we never conversated. He was another older guy. He was an older black guy. His name was Stacy. He was from Columbus. I had rode to Toledo and been there probably maybe 2-3 years. So this would be 03, 04, roughly. When Stacy, a group of guys, rode in from Lebanon. Stacy was one of them. And he came to my block. And that's why this is relevant. I've explained in other videos. about Toledo. At this time, 2003, 2004, there's maybe 400 to 500 inmates in the whole prison. There's only 48 in one block. And so, if I do 2 years in the same block with 48 guys and 20 of them have been there that whole 2 years with me, naturally, we know each other. We've established some form of a relationship. Me and Stacy were poker players, so we were always on the poker table together. And so, that's how I got to know his story. Stacy did 20 years flat for an essay, for, a sexual assault of some sort. It was probably the capital R, but he did 20 years for it. And he was under the old law, meaning he still had to see the parole board. And he got accustomed to getting flopped, meaning he would go to the board and they would stretch him up. They'd give him more time. Well, he goes to the board, and from Toledo, this might have been 05, 04, 05. And I remember before he left, one of the guys in there that he was cool with, they were talking. And Stacy was basically, I don't remember exactly what he said, but the gist of what he said was, I'm about to go in there and cuss these people out. I'm about to go show my ass. He didn't say why. I just assumed it was typical prison shit. Bravado, beat your chest. Ain't nobody got no power over me. Even though they got all the power. I'm gonna go in there and cuss these motherfuckers. I don't give a fuck about my parole type shit. Cause you got them dudes, idiot like that all the time. And I'm not saying he's an idiot, but I'm just saying I was so used to hearing dumb shit like that. And it did, alright, whatever. He's a fucking idiot. Who's gonna go to the parole board and cuss him out? So, whatever happened. I don't know whether or not he cussed him out or what. But I know he come back and they had given him an out date. They cut him loose. And I remember when I tell you the final act, when I heard about it, I remember thinking back to this day when he come back from the parole board. Because I was sitting at the card table. I'll never forget it. He walked in the block and basically made the announcement. He had his parole paper in his hand. That he was going home. But there was no joy in his face. There was no joy in his words. There was nothing. It was empty. And I knew he did 20 years. So he ends up getting out. I think they gave him like something like 90 days and an out date. Something like that. And they let him out. If your people don't come and get you, they give you gate pay. Right? When you go home, they give you money. If you've done over a year, I think it's like $75 or something like that. $100, $75, $100, something like that. They give to you. And if you have any money on your books, they give you a check for that. But the gate pay they give you in cash. If you don't have a ride, they take the bus fare out of your gate pay and they go buy you a Greyhound bus ticket. And what they do is the day you get released, 2 COs will put you in a van and they'll drive you to the bus station, to the Greyhound bus station. So Stacy does 20 years and some change. Gets a parole after 20 years of sexually assaulting young kids, because that's what he did. He was an aggressive booty bandit. They cut him loose, and he didn't want to go. And I don't know if he verbalized that to anybody. I don't know if he ever said that. But they drop him off at the Greyhound bus stop in Toledo. He catches his bus. He gets off the bus in his city, Columbus. And he sees this woman at the bus stop. And I don't know if it was the overwhelming feeling of that freedom. I really can't answer it. But he assaulted her and took her into a blind spot and SA'd her. Capital R. He wasn't off the bus an hour. About a year, maybe 18 months later, you know when the new guys come in because you see all the guys walking in orange jumpsuits. When in comes Stacy, back in the same block. And I just remember thinking, like, what the fuck? Like, I was just so completely shocked and in awe and just like, what the fuck? It was almost like he never left. I did 21 years. From 1999 to 2019, I was home just about a year and a half, we'll just say. A year and some change. Not even. Total. And it was broke up. And I've explained in other videos how it goes so fast, how you look back on it and it's just like, wow. Like one day I went from youngster to school, having young kids call me school, old school, shit like that. I didn't know the extent of my mental health issues until I got released. I never paid them any mind. I never cared. I never thought about it. I can be in a Taco Bell, and if somebody cuts in front of me, or if somebody is too friendly with the cashier and they're just talking and I'm waiting, anything I deem as rude, disrespectful, it I can just feel it. Just And I have control issues with my anger. I have allowed myself, I made excuses. Well, fuck it, I'm in prison when in Rome. Instead of, man, I'm in prison, man. I need to get what the fuck is wrong with me? And attacking myself and trying to challenge myself to better myself, I embraced it. And eventually, I turned into a monster. Sometimes I don't even recognize myself. I don't get pleasures. And I remember, growing up, you couldn't keep me off a basketball court or a baseball field or a football field. Or I had passions for things. I enjoyed fishing. I enjoyed life. I had an abundance of friends. My family was intact. I had a life. And I don't have that life anymore. And I'm not sad about it. I've come to terms with it. And my focus is there. I'm not coming to you today as someone lost or someone trying to. This isn't a call for help. By the grace of God, He's blessed me with the tools and the awareness. I understand what I'm going through. And He's blessed me with the patience and the resolve and the drive to want to fix it. And so that's where I'm at right now in my life. I've ruined relationships with very important people to me, my family that I do have left. And I'm working on it. They're not irredeemable, they're fixable. And instead of just digging in and being standoffish and being too proud to say I'm sorry or I love you, I'm working on letting my guard down and doing that and becoming a better person. I've been fired from 9 jobs since I've been home. Now, granted, 3 of them weren't technically my fault. I caught 3 petty parole violations and had to go back for 6 months at a time. And so each time that happened, obviously I lost good jobs. But I've lost 6 other jobs because I couldn't in that moment control myself. Whether it be snapping on a coworker, which is what they've all been. They've all been for the same thing. Authority issues, problems with authority. I have always had that. And that's my biggest challenge right now is being humble and aware enough to know this is my boss. Sometimes you just gotta suck it up and take it. It's your boss. Instead of me flipping and asking him to meet me in the parking lot after work or calling him a hoe ass, bitch ass dude or whatever it was I said in them moments. It took me about 18 months to stop hibernating in my room. When I was home, I was in my room. But like I explained to my family, you got to understand, I come from living in a bathroom with another man for all that time. I come home, I'm in a big room with a nice bed. I got the internet. I got my PlayStation. I got my weed. I got my chick. I got it all. I got everything I need right here. And it caused problems in my relationship. I don't think that that relationship would have made it in the long run any way it went because she had her issues too. And I just think we were incompatible. I love her to death. She helped me so much and she taught me so much. But I was too stuck in my ways for her. And ultimately, it pushed her away. Just like it's pushed everybody else away. I'm not trying to salvage that relationship. I am trying to salvage the relationship with the people in my family. And it's going good. It's working. They love me. I love them. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. But when people come home, when people come home after doing long stints, the world seems so big and everything seems, you feel out of place. You don't feel like you belong. You feel like everybody knows you've been to prison. You almost feel dirty. You feel like a bum. I did anyway. I was insecure. I was embarrassed. I had a complex. And so, in a nutshell, that's basically what my institutionalized looks like. I'm still going through it. Every time you see me, I'm in my room. I mean, I got a deck. I go outside and breathe, but I'm better. Don't get me wrong. I'm better. I'm not sitting here like the same person. I'm a lot better. But it just takes time. And everybody's different, you know? These videos have been a huge, it's almost like therapy, honestly, being able to talk to you guys and get this shit out. And for real, that's probably, I try to respond to every comment. If I haven't, I'm sorry, but I try to. And that's because if I'm going to do this, I want to know who my followers are. I want to, even if it's through messaging, I want to build some type of honest relationship with the people who are helping my channel without, I know everybody says this, and I don't know how many of you guys have ever tried to make a channel, but you got to understand, I know nothing about the internet. I know nothing about social media. I don't know how to operate it. I don't know how to do anything. Only thing I know how to do is click these videos and record them and send them out to y'all. And that took me forever to learn how to do. I didn't want to do this because of that was one of the main reasons. Was because of I don't know anything about the internet. And then also it was getting over the complex of, thinking I'm sitting here talking to myself. But then you start getting responses. I start getting these responses and these comments from you guys, and it's like, wow. If this channel becomes successful, if this channel reaches a point to where I'm making money and now I'm networking and I'm meeting other influencers and I might be doing it. If I ever get to that point, I'm never, ever, ever going to forget about the people. I can't get to that point without you. I can't. My success on here almost solely depends on y'all. I mean, obviously, I got to be me and be real and put out shit that y'all want to watch. But at the end of the day, you guys dictate what I become on here. And I'm just not that type of dude. You know, I I want to build a solid community where I might not know y'all personally, but I've communicated with y'all enough to where we got a rapport with each other. I want to know all y'all like that. And so that's why I respond to every one of them. Um, my neighbor started cutting his grass. I was getting ready to wrap this one up anyway. If it was a ramble or if I went on babbling, I'm sorry. I just wanted to get this one out. I had a few comments of some guys asking me to kind of give a background, and I'll get to that. And I hope this gave y'all a little bit of insight into my background. Fucking dogs, man. But if you like the video, please hit the like and subscribe button. Share the video. And until next time, it's the Hoodie Man. I'm out. Stay safe.